Julioso. Just like I know so. I actually probably should have waited until I got closer to outside. Um, okay. Let me see. What's up? So I'm gonna go on a walk while I talk about Switch 2 pricing. What's up, studio? If I can figure out where the hell my key to the house is. Jesus Christ. That's not it. Am I tripping? Hold on. Okay, I think it's this one. It's not that one. Wait, is it this one? No. Is it? Why is it all of a sudden I can't do things I've been doing this whole time? There we go. Jesus Christ. Well, that's a good one. So I just wanted to talk about Switch 2 pricing. And it's not like I got any like monetization going on, so I figured I could talk. Let me know if you can hear me correctly. I'm mainly gonna have the camera at this angle, so I'm not revealing anybody's like address and stuff, but I'm still technically outside. So I'm gonna be walking and talking. Also, that means this video will more likely just be like 30 minutes because it usually takes me 30 minutes to do my little daily walk. And hopefully I don't get chased by a dog. If I get chased by a dog, it's over for me. Audio's good? All right, cool. So, obviously, we had the Switch 2 announcement. What was it, yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. And there's been a lot of information that's come out regarding pricing, structure, and everything. And I'm kind of just... I got thoughts because the reaction's been pretty crazy. I've heard various thoughts and opinions of the pricing versus like the console pricing, and then obviously the game pricing, which I think has been the big controversy. Not really I've heard some people complain about the console pricing, and I think realistically every time shit like this happens, it gives the community a reason to just kind of run at Nintendo. I'm not really one for like crazy conspiracy theories, but I genuinely believe that the Switch 2 unfortunately has hit this point. Nintendo has always had this like air of disrespect that just floats in. What's up?
My next door neighbor has already got the fence in,
Okay.
but the lady on the other side of her, I don't think they have settled on the fence. So tell Nanny that I want her to see them, but they are very busy with that.
Right.
But if she will just be very personable. Her name is Judy.
Uh huh. I'll let her know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just tell them that they are living. They're living in on the street. I saw them crying.
Oh, sorry. You're okay?
I just want Nanny to make somebody out of this because I know she does a good job. But anyway, just tell them Nanny, they don't live there anymore. They live very where you go into Holly Haven.
Right.
Right before you go in.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let him. Yeah, I'll let him. Okay. I'll let him know. No problem. No, that was not a Karen. My mom, this is some fun, this is some lore. My mom does lawn care, and because of the tornado that came through here in September, we get a lot of there was a lot of damage, specifically in the neighborhood I live at. So as a result, my mom got a lot of work. And some people really like my mom. And so I didn't really her being in the car when she stopped past me and then yeah. Okay. Let me know. Is it better? This may or may not be. I just give me some general messages if you can still hear and whatnot, and then because I don't want to get into something and then you guys not hear me. Good now, yeah. It was what happened when I disconnected from my house's Wi-Fi. I think is when the phone glitched out for a little bit. So this is just my phone's network. I didn't. This is very impromptu. This is very much like I just said, fuck it. Why not talk about it? So, anyways, what I was talking about is that the Switch 2, pricing came out for the games, and I think that's what people are mostly angry about. I don't really understand if people are angry about the console pricing, because the console pricing, for lack of a better term, is pretty fair for what I figured what was going to happen. It's kind of obvious, and even talking with other people, I've noticed the Switch 2's general power setup is very much a more modern setup. I think the Switch 2 hardware is probably not even 2 years old. And so as a result, for me personally, that's when you're dealing with probably I don't know if it's the closest gap between the hardware being old versus the release of the console, but it's pretty close, right? So as a result, you kind of have to expect some higher prices to get higher power and performance to be competitive. Because as much as people are like, well, it's only up to a PlayStation 4. I'm like, yeah, but last time I checked, you can take your PlayStation 4 on the go. The PS4 was one of those things you had to keep in your house and plug into a wall. Opening better lines for the amount of eyeballs and motherfucker about to get his neighbors. Lines open up at 3. Shut up, Richie. But like I was saying is that you're essentially having a PS4 in your hand. $450 seems like a fair price, and people are like, well, what about the cartridges, and why can't I use certain SD cards? And I'm like, well, how would you justify that if you want a game to have faster loading screens and loading times? Which, if you've looked at some of the game footage they showed today, you can painfully see those loading times are borderline seamless. It's not seamless, but it's really fucking close. So yeah, this is just a new era of stuff we're dealing with here. So I don't think $450 to me is fine. I think people's biggest problem is obviously with the pricing of the games. And I've gone very back and forth with this in my head, because in the reality, do I want to spend $80 to $90 for a game cartridge? Absolutely not. But then again, I didn't want to spend $70 either. I didn't want to spend $60. I didn't want to spend $50. I didn't want to spend $40. Let's be real here. If we could really have it the way we want it, none of us would pay for anything, because it's hard out here. And who the hell's trying to pay for a recreational activity? But life, it is what it is. A lot of people have made the argument of tariffs. People have said it's inflation. And then people have just said it's Nintendo's greed. And I don't think any of that really matters of what the reason is, because the bottom line still comes down to that we have to pay $80 to $90 for certain games and $70 for others. I think it's it's $70 for DK, it's $80 for Zelda 2, Zelda Switch 2, Tears of Kingdom Switch 2, I think Kirby Switch 2, those are all $80, and then the $70s are Donkey Kong, and then a couple, I think, of the first party titles, right? And of course, people's biggest frustration is like, who the fuck's trying to spend $80 to $90 on games? And at least coming from my current opinion of the situation, Jesus Christ, they door dashing over here. I think that was DoorDash. Is that Amazon? That man got like 4 boxes on his porch, but it is what it is. Sorry, I got distracted. I don't remember, and someone could correct me if I'm wrong. Was the outrage to the same effect when we got the $70 increase to games for the PlayStation 5 era? Because part of me feels like this is slightly Nintendo bias. I think the majority of it is just generally nobody's just trying to spend all this fucking money right now, especially with this whole stuff with the tariffs and potentially everything else going up in price. It's like, bro, you got me spending more money on another fucking thing? How dare you, you rat bastards. Also, this is a One Piece hat, in case you're curious, because that's the kind of individual I am. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it or hide it. But for me personally, I want people to be consistent with this frustration. If you were someone who was more accepting of the $70 increase, to me, you can't really run your mouth. Now, if you rejected the $70 increase on PS5 games going into this, I feel like you're a lot more justified because you're being consistent with your actions. Now, obviously, things can change and opinions can be changed if overwhelming evidence has been given. There is no really overwhelming evidence to be given in the context of pricing for games. And I already saw there's already a movement, whether or not it's official or unofficial, that like during the entire Treehouse stream today, they were just posting drop the price, I think is what it was, in the entirety of the YouTube chat. The Twitch chat was a little bit more balanced, but the YouTube chat was pretty explicit with drop the price. And that's partially because certain YouTubers have made their cases and opinions on the pricing structure, some of them being more disrespectful than others. I don't want to act like the entire experience is marred by the pricing, because at the end of the day, people circumvent pricing all the time. Bundles, discounts, coupons, all that other fun shit. And of course, it doesn't really change the core fact that those games are still at MSRP $80, or I haven't really seen 90. I think the 90 thing's a little bit exacerbated, but I know the 80 thing I've definitely seen. But if I guess the question will then come down for me personally, do I still want the games? Yeah, I want the games. I mean, it kind of is what happened with me not liking the $70 games, and then Tears of the Kingdom was announced to be a $70 game, and I'm like, fuck. Like, as much as we hate to acknowledge, if it's a game we really want and a franchise we really care about, some of us will just bend the knee. And of course, that's not what you're supposed to do. If you're very much a person who's talking about your certain morals and about what you want out of your gaming experience, then realistically, that can't be the energy you're on. You have to be consistent or find a way to circumvent to still get what you want, but stick to your morals. For example, Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo actually provided an out, whether it was intentional or not. The Nintendo vouchers allowed me to get that game, and I think it was Mario RPG. I was able to get both of those games, or it might have been another game, but it was Tears of the Kingdom and another game. I was able to do through the voucher program because I had the Nintendo Switch Online, and all things considered, I was able to get that game for essentially $20 off, thanks to Nintendo's effort. Absolutely, One Piece, baby, One Piece. Sorry, I'm almost at the halfway point of the walk, but I apologize if the wind is making too much noise along with the cars going by. But like I said, if I point this the way I want to point this, I run the risk of doxing myself and like others, so I won't do that. But yeah, so the general thought and opinion is that when it comes to game sales, I lost my train of thought. Hold on. That there was a way for me to circumvent the whole Zelda thing, right? Now, for me personally, am I getting the console day one? Oh, it's getting pre-ordered, absolutely. The pre-orders go up, I think, on the 9th. I already signed up for that Nintendo, what was it? The Nintendo like thing where they notify you So yes, Mario Kart World will be getting day one. DK will be bought in July. ZA will be bought for Switch 2. Metro Prime will be bought for Switch 2. Realistically, I have no reason to buy things on Switch 1 anymore. And I'm already rocking 2 Switch 1s as it is. I have the OLED version and then the battery improved version. So for me mentally, it doesn't make any sense to keep buying Switch 1 stuff. Like realistically, once I get Switch 2 stuff, it's over. Once I get the Switch 2 in 2 months, that's it. So I'm personally gonna buy the game. Now I'm getting the bundle, so I'm not technically spending $80 for the Mario Kart 8. And at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily fix the problem anyway. Of course, everyone wants those games to be cheaper, but Nintendo is very rarely known to back down on things. And I think during the Treehouse stream, they even showed an infographic of the Nintendo S Online. People still forget we have the cheapest online that's gained features between console generations. Think about that. Nintendo Switch Online is still cheap. They didn't upgrade the price on that. So now I'm just getting, plus some of those upgrades are a part of NSO Online or Nintendo Switch Online expansion. So on top of getting GameCube, I think Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are just free upgrades if you have the Nintendo Switch Online. Do I think if the Nintendo Switch sells the Wii U outsells the Wii U in a month? I think the pricing thing's going to be a hard pill for some to swallow, but it'll probably drive up sales of the bundle. So more than likely, all right, I'm halfway. More than likely, the Nintendo Switch 2 will probably, I'm thinking 20 mil by the end of the month, by the end of the year, 20 mil. That's not insane confidence, but it's decent confidence. I think they'll hit 20 mil Switch 2s by the end of the year. And I could be wrong. It could be less. It wouldn't surprise me if it's less. But I think 20 mil is what I'm confident in, because the game lineup is still solid. People's biggest issue is pricing, and let's be real here. People have been circumventing pricing structures for games a while ago, but I won't fault you. I don't fault anybody who's like, hey, $80 or $90 is too much for a game. Maybe drop your top 10 Switch games vid. I have another one of the like Road to Switch 2 game, Road to Switch 2 video I want to do on the main channel. I've already got the footage. I just need to record like the actual video itself, which I probably do next week since I'm off. I'm off right now for spring break. Spring break from us is next week, so I'll have a good amount of time off. But for me personally right now, the console's getting bought day one. That's not gonna really change. If anything, it's the stuff I've seen today from the footage of games. I mean, I have my critiques. The pricing structure isn't great by any means. Nobody wants to spend $80 or $90 for a video game. Hell, I didn't want to spend $70. You know how long I've been avoiding $70 video games? The only thing that helped out is things like Game Pass or people being kind to me, which I always appreciate. Shout outs to Terminator Juice for the PS5 and Stellar Blade, actually. Because if I remember right, he bought me Stellar Blade. So I've been avoiding $70 games this whole time. But the shit's not great. It's going to cause a lot of backlash, and I would hate to see the Switch 2 not do well. Not because of a lack of games, not because of a lack of effort, but because of something as stupid as the games are just too high. Because we were so, I'm going to be real with you, it's crazy to me, we were so worried about everything else. We're like, oh fuck, we're not going to have enough games. We're going to have issues with the features. People aren't going to be happy with the storage, the pricing of the console, how long we got to wait before we get it. And then after all that, the Direct generally was decent. The only thing I really think is a big marl in it, game-wise, was fucking that stupid wheelchair game. That wheelchair game was ass. People keep comparing it to ARMS, and I think that's disrespectful to that game, because ARMS, in my opinion, although might be gimmicky, had a lot more charm, style, and personality. This shit is not only a gimmicky game like ARMS was, but also has no charm, no substance, well, I won't say substance, but it doesn't have any charm or personality to it. It looks like a dingy ass wheelchair game that uses mouse mechanics. I think the mouse thing is going to be a bigger deal than people want to give it credit for. It kind of, to me, has slowly shown that already, and I think it will continue to show that over time. So I think the mouse thing right now is being slept on, but when people get the console in their hands, I promise you that shit will change. Do you think Smash will ever get a sequel on it? I expect a port more than a sequel, or an upgrade than a sequel. I'm also curious, people are also so concerned about the upgrades for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They didn't notice the general upgrades to things like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and Mario Odyssey and Fire Emblem Engage that are just getting general free upgrades to it. I think they're like, oh, Nintendo's so greedy. Not really, because all those things are optional. If you're smart, what most people would do is go buy some of those Switch 1 titles for cheap and then have NSO online. Actually, now I think about it, I don't know why people don't just do that. Why aren't people just buying Breath of the Wild on cheap for Switch 1, then get NSO Online expansion pass for the GameCube stuff and get a free upgrade, well, free in quotations, upgrade to the Switch 2 version? Wouldn't that have made more sense? Sorry, I can't read the chat like this. The Insane Game Freak hates handicapped people. Yo, chill out. Mario Odyssey 2 will be sometimes in the future. More like, I think Mario will probably be next year, considering the second Mario movie comes out early next year, and I'm assuming we're gonna start seeing trailers for that pretty soon. More than likely, we'll get the Mario Odyssey or the next Mario title next year to coincide with the film, to keep people happy, and then they get new content, also new service, please. I thought the Direct was good. I think the Direct is good. People just don't. I think the pricing has literally been the biggest thing people aren't happy with. If it wasn't for the price of the games, I think they would have nailed it, which I think is probably the reason why they didn't put it in the Direct itself. The sun is being a bitch right now, guys. I'm so sorry. Like I said, for those who are curious, I'm outside walking, and that's to not dox like anything in my neighborhood. I'm pointing it like this so you don't see like houses and numbers and stuff. I'm gonna get the Mario Kart bundle, bro. I gotta play Peak. Exactly. I will not fault anyone who's like, hey, I don't want to spend $80 or $90 in the game. But I'm also thinking people are using this as a vehicle like they've done before to talk a bunch of shit about Nintendo. One of the people I think who does it a lot is Moist Critical. Dog, every time Nintendo fucks up, he's the first one in the corner. And I'm not saying that the critique isn't fair. I think you're allowed to critique anything because you're allowed to have opinion on anything because you live in America where free speech is an option. But the fact that he specifically goes after Nintendo instead of acknowledging all gaming practices is a little disrespectful to me, at least in terms of video form, because that's usually what he does. But see, he's considered one of the golden boys, so me saying anything negative about him automatically feels like a death sentence. What misinformation do you think they're spreading, Goki? I might wait for the system. There's still plenty of left to play on the old system. That's fair. And I think that's why they set it up this way. Because you can still play Metroid on the old system. You can still play Pokemon on the old system. So technically, you still have games this year for the old system, plus all the indies and stuff that are still coming to the old system. And ironically enough, I think the Switch 1 might be the first Nintendo console that doesn't immediately die when its big brother comes out. Why? Well, because there's still plenty of games. It's probably going to suffer. It's probably going to go through the PS4 route, where a lot of companies who want a bigger install base will put more games on the Switch 1 and then have like a Switch 2 upgrade version. That makes sense to me. I'm pleasantly surprised they went for a very aggressive push for technical specs, because they didn't have to, and Nintendo's not known for doing that. They actively went out of their way to push 120 frames, 4K, HDR. Nintendo, we didn't even expect them to go that hard with it. I definitely didn't expect it. It's always nice and it's welcomed, but I definitely didn't expect them to push it. So I'm glad to see them being aggressive. Just because it's a fucking hybrid doesn't mean they ain't got hands. And I think they very much proven they still got hands. So yeah. Let me read the chat. Yeah, Civilization 7. That mouse thing, I think people are sleeping on. They don't realize that mouse thing can be a whole new thing for a lot of people. People think I'm joking, I'm playing. That mouse thing can change the game, yo. Any series you wish Nintendo brings back? F-Zero, Star Fox, Mother 4, etc. Kid Icarus specifically, and Star Fox for right now. Maybe Dylan's Rolling Western is another one I want to see. That was on the 3DS. Give that an actual push, please and thank you. No, yeah, the $70 80 thing. The 80 thing, the only new Nintendo Switch game, Nintendo Switch 2 game that's $80 is, what is it? The only Nintendo, it's Mario Kart, because DK 70. My question, the problem is, I think some people are running with it and being like, lower the price of the system, lower the price of DK. I think realistically, all Nintendo would have to do is just drop all the prices to 70, and then people would shut the fuck up. Because then if you put in 70, then it's like, well, wait a minute, how are you gonna do that? People don't even realize Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom sold at $70 and was still an overall success financially. I don't think it didn't sell as much as its younger brother, of course, or its big brother, younger brother. Fuck it. The point is, it didn't sell as much as Breath of the Wild, but most sequels don't anyway. But it still sold well, like really well. So there was already a precedent that had, hey, people are willing to buy this game. I think some people only like a few mainstream Nintendo titles and turn them on whenever they screw up. I don't really get it, because it's easy. It happened during the Wii era. I've always talked about this, where people wanted to say so much shit about the Wii and they couldn't really get away with it because the Wii was successful, which proved that it didn't matter, and people would use it as a defense. So no one talked shit about the Wii. People didn't start talking shit about the Wii really until we hit the Wii U, and the Wii U didn't sell. That's when you start hearing all that shit talking about the Wii, and then you started shit talking about the Wii U. That's why the Switch, I think, had to go out with bangers at the beginning of of last gen, to prove itself to be a capable system, and it proved the fuck out of itself. And now, and some people could argue that Nintendo is technically getting kind of cocky by doing what they're doing with Switch 2. Bravely Default is 40. Bravely Default is something I'm debating, but the problem with Bravely Default is that Bravely Default is one of those key card games, so the game isn't really on the card, and that one has me debating it a little bit. I think all the first party Nintendo stuff will be fine, but I'm also curious if that Bravely Default thing is going to be on other systems, because technically you could do that. And I think didn't Square say they weren't trying to do exclusives anymore, although that could just be Sony trauma, I don't know. I generally am happy for the Switch 2, but I too broke to buy it anyway, so I can't wait to buy it. Of course, they released a study that the majority of females and children play handheld Switch. Males play it on TV. People are crying over Nintendo Switch now, want to upgrade, want the upgraded version to come out. I want them to bring Codenames Steam from the 3DS. The Codenames Steam is great. I just don't think it garnered enough attention for them to waste money, or potentially waste money, on an updated version, or even a sequel, unfortunately, even though I think it very much deserves one. Switch 2 Tears of the Kingdom is also 80. Yeah, it is. But like I said, what people could probably do is buy the Switch 1 version of Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom through that pass, because that is Trump needs to slash these video game prices. Not gonna lie. Well, we're currently in the beginning stages. Well, I won't even say beginning. I'll say we're currently in our tariff war, so things about to get real chaotic as far as that's concerned. But yeah, I'm almost back to my house, guys. So I'll take a couple more questions, and then I'm gonna get out of here. I'm just doing my walk, so I figured I'd post something, talk to you guys. Just so you know, next week I'm gonna be really free, like really free, because I'm pretty much on spring break, vacation for the next week or so. So you'll probably either get more streams, videos, content, whatever from me. But I also might be sleeping, so keep that in mind, Teehee. But yeah, just give me your thoughts and comments. I'm walking up on my home now, which I can't show you because doxing and whatnot. I feel like we're currently going through a collapse pretty soon of the gaming industry. Yeah, considering people aren't even sure we're going to get another console from Xbox or we're going to get anything from PlayStation. PlayStation is probably more likely to give you a PS6, but whether or not it's going to be worth it remains to be seen. It's funny that people want to talk about like game prices, but don't want to acknowledge that like the struggle that's been going on with Sony, and that's why a lot of their games have been on PC as of late. People don't want to acknowledge that. Motherfuckers are delusional, bro. The tides are changing. Big ups on those $100 Xbox controllers. Hope you enjoy your vacation. I appreciate it. Once again, thank you, dog, for spooking the shit out of me. I have a weak constitution, and apparently I can't find the right keys I own. It's never good. Let's see. Imagine playing Master Chief's Cheeks Collection on Game Pass on Switch 2. I mean, that's actually very feasible now. It wouldn't surprise me that it comes out later because we now know that the console is powerful enough to do it. Realistically, there's no reason to not try it. Whoops. Oh, Jesus. It's hot. It's hot, bro. It's hot. I got the AC on. But yeah, it's hot, bro. It's hot. Like I said, this is just general me talking for a little bit to kind of discuss with you. I don't know what the gaming industry is going to be. Nintendo's probably the last company that'll make consoles, which is why I think it's funny that people are the hardest on them for some fucking reason, even though they don't regard them as like a major player in the industry, even though they were the winner of this gen. Technically, I mean, PlayStation's coming up on their 5th year, and I think are at like 50 to 60. No, I think they might be at 60 to 80 units. I forget how much. 80 million units. And yeah. But woo, it's funny because I think you guys like these kind of videos more. But yeah, what the hell? Oh. Alright, duly noted. Whew. But I'll give you guys about 5 more minutes of questions, and then I'm gonna turn this off and go chill for the rest of the day. I just wanted to just to have my thoughts out there. I recognize the problem with the pricing structure. I'm not gonna blame anyone who doesn't want to pay for it. But for me personally, I'll just do what I did when PlayStation went up to 70 and when Xbox went up to 70. Get creative around it. I'm not happy about it, and I'm not really mad that people are boycotting it. I feel like it's a shame in some aspects, though, because I feel like the games aren't really shining the way they could, purely because it's being overrun with the whole pricing structure. I hate that the pricing structure of all things is what's undercutting the Switch 2, because I genuinely believe that that Direct was a strong showing. It's probably one of the best showings Nintendo's done for a new console next to actually the Switch One. Now that I think about it, and maybe the Wii. But yeah, it's gonna be mainly relaxing today. Tomorrow I have an eye doctor's appointment. And my eyes will be dilated, so I may talk about this in detail with Tyrone tomorrow. I think, but we'll see. You'll find out obviously when we have like a full conversation. Right now, there's still small things coming out with the footage that came out today, so there'll probably be things that come out tomorrow with the next batch of footage, and I look forward to seeing the footage. Although by the time I actually get to see the footage, it'll be like hours later because I go to get my eyes dilated at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and the footage starts. Do you and Tyrone still review Pokemon games? The anime? Tyrone still reviews the anime currently. He's been doing it in chunks, but he has. Yeah, the Switch 2 is $450 studio, and then it's 500 if you want the Mario Kart World bundle. Just got here, not sure what you covered yet, but with the DK regular 70 and Mario being 80 digital, I wonder if I wonder will I don't know how to say this like an event games or higher budget games would be more. I don't know. The fact that DK is only 70 is kind of interesting because I figured that would be the more expensive game of the two, but it just depends. I have no interest in the Pokemon anime personally. Um, but if you want to go see Tyrone the God 3's YouTube channel, he has currently been reviewing it. I think he's up to date to my knowledge or pretty close to it. I really hope DK still sells. Even if they want to boycott Mario Kart, I think you should at least still support DK because DK I think deserved it, and it's not $80. I think if you want to boycott your $80 games, cool, but the only $80 game that would possibly hurt me is Mario Kart, and with the bundle, it's not gonna matter for me personally. The only other $80 games are the Switch 2 versions of games, which most of those I think that's an incentive to get the online system. I think the plan for Mario Kart is that it will be supported for the entire life of the Switch too. Oh, absolutely. There's no fucking. And the funny thing is, we have another direct in like 2 weeks for that. So it's funny that people are like, the game that the only new game that is $80, like brand new game that's $80, will have a direct next in the next 2 weeks discussing it, which will then lead us to May, where we will have maybe a month really to wait, and then hey, here's a new console. So. But I like the footage. The only thing I didn't notice is that I think DK is not locked yet, which yeah, that could be because it's an earlier build, but it's not locked yet. No, you can't pre-order the bundle until the 9th. So that would be next Wednesday is when you can start pre-ordering. So keep that in mind. Next Wednesday is when you can pre-order. So Nintendo fans, for those who want to pre-order, keep that in mind. But yeah, I think that's generally it. All I wanted to say. And we're almost at 40 minutes, so I think this is a good time to cut it off. But thank you guys for watching. I think tomorrow, if my eyes are up to date by the time we get to the stream time, I will do a stream with Tyrone more than likely talking about Switch 2 in like deeper depth. And then I obviously am going to have a main channel video for the main channel talking about it. So don't worry, guys. The content is coming. The content and the streams are coming, ladies and gentlemen. So look hard to it. Anyways, lots of gameplay to win. Wish KG a happy birthday, Polly a happy birthday, Emmy a happy birthday, and then Nessa's birthday is Saturday, I believe, of our group. So give them all love and support. Appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks, Richie. Anyways, lots of game, play to win, and I will catch you guys later or tomorrow. Peace. Woohoo!